Good morning. Welcome to my channel. Welcome back to my channel. It's Eccentric RockStar'Seed. So I heard very loud and clear. Now you know you ought to be ashamed of yourself, right? So I want to start off by saying I send a prayer of love to all beings in need of miracles. I also have the crystal pyrites. Okay. It's about prosperity and success. It's known as fool's gold. It encourages you to follow your dreams and envision your desires. And literally, this is one of those crystals that can strike fire against, when struck against another stone or some kind of metal or something. It's one of those. So, in the words, in the mannerism of integrity, in order to protect your aura, strike fast, beef up on your prayers. Also, I have a very vivid dream. Family. This is about family. Family can be in any manner that resonates to you. It could be your friends, it could be your parents, or other family members. It could be spouse related family. But this part of it is upbringings. People were energy harvesting off of you since you were a child. Like you were a person who didn't have your parents, worst case scenario, or parents who always worked. So you were always left with someone who was like an additional parental figure to you. This speaks to you, the first part of it. The second part of this message is going to be about your children. Okay. And this is about illumination. I see the sun card. But more importantly, these people used to embrace you when you would have really vulnerable times, and they will hug and embrace you like they care about you. They were energy harvesting off of you. They were like doing a lot of deep due diligence research in a dark fashion, if you know what I mean, and learning your roots and learning what you're meant to have, and will slow you down and will buck you up against their creative endeavors and try to make it like you're the one that's slighted. They will slight you a lot, needless to say. I see, what is that? The spiritual practice where they dance and chant stuff. Something with an S. I had it, it slipped my mind because they don't want me to say it. Certain people don't want me to say it, but they practice that. It'll come to me. I'm being called to tell you to focus on your breathing. Okay, and also your breathing gets a little, this is for someone whose breathing gets tight. They get tight in the chest. That's a somatic psychic sense. That's an ability to know that somebody's bucking up against you. I don't see why anyone should ever have to apologize for being a fortress, being a fortune as a Muslim. And I use the word Muslim loosely, assuming you know what it means to be a Muslim. That's to single God out in his worship and his lordship and his names and attributes. Anybody can be that. While studying your fortress of Muslims and working your light and still being a starseed, someone who's tapped in, somebody who's gifted, somebody who's talented. Well, guess what? Have you heard the good news? Now your children are starting to come into abilities that you've passed down to them. They're starting to come to you and ask you questions and talk to you about things that they're experiencing because they're of age now, and it's starting to hit them a little different. They're starting to tap in, or their senses, their abilities are they're starting to connect with them. But these are people who saw that when you were a child. This was like way before your time to even think about being somebody's parent. And they would do those dance rituals and chant stuff. And it would they would block you from having healthy, loving relationships. They would speak ill on you or teach you to speak ill on yourself. They would teach you to be sheltered, you know. But one thing about it is you can't really control other people, but you can control how you perceive it as you learn it. And you're being called to keep yourself grounded and take care of yourself. That's a radical act of love, bluntly. These people are sorry because they woke up sleeping giants. They woke up ancestors. They knew that you had knowledge of your spiritual abilities at a young age, and they were blocking you from it. They caused you to be blocked off from it for a while. Now, this doesn't mean like at first, if you were around your parents for a while, or, you know, earlier in your life, like toddler ages, you know, your parents embraced you. You know, they didn't make you feel different. It was when they left you, they entrusted you with other people. Those other people went in for the kill. Okay? Now, it's like all of this stuff is playing back now through you raising your children. Now you have children. And your children are a lot like you in this instance. So you're being called to teach them that they're multifaceted, that they're unique in nature, and they should let themselves be seen. You know, you're teaching them these things in spite of how you were treated when people learn these things about you. You know, this is heavy. You're a person who had this ability to heal yourself, both physically and emotionally. You'd be an excellent Reiki teacher, by the way. But you're so accustomed, you had to do that because you're so accustomed to people micromanaging your life, trying to play God in your life. You're being called to pray against them. Now more than ever. Because they're trauma bonding or trying to attack you through your children. And they have been subtly, and now starting to pick up more. They're starting to attack your children spiritually because your children are of age now where they're starting to come into their own. They're starting to understand things differently. They're starting to realize their abilities within themselves. They want to apologize. They're defenseless. Because they see you and your kids getting stronger. And you getting stronger through your children. Like your kids were introverted and they were afraid of what they have the ability to do. And you're being called to tell them, you know, flowers, the terminology or the metaphor that's expressed as peonies don't not blossom in front of a cherry blossom or something like that. And a cherry blossom doesn't wilt in front of a rose. You know what I mean? Like they let themselves be seen. They blossom no matter what. And you're teaching your kids at the age now where you can teach them creative accountability. Teach them that it's their superpower. And not something they should be afraid of. But, you know, when you're kids, everything seems like super scary. But that's a hell of a thing to do to somebody's child. That's why I heard it clearly. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. I think there's someone's spirit guides going back to meet those additional parental figures, and they're cursing them. Because they overestimated themselves. But they were energy harvesting off of you to make themselves look better. So this reading, you get your flowers in this reading, whoever this is. That, I cannot remember what, I knew it before I start recording and I just forgot. Like, again, with attacking someone's psyche, that's what they're doing to your children. So if your children are experiencing symptoms, you might think they're like playing with drugs and stuff. They're not. They're being attacked. You got to teach them what's going on. You got to tell them the truth, really, and just tell them what's going on and what it means when they experience different like symptoms and things, so they learn how to protect themselves. Let me see. I don't have to do this, but I'm going to do this. Let's talk about it. One on the family. Like your aunt, all the people that passed on that did embrace you for who you are, and you got those pearls of wisdom, the deep rooted, where you honestly get the stuff from, the characteristic traits from. A lot of them. I see the high priestess. They have passed on, but they're your spirit guides. Somebody's been waiting in the wind, plotting on your children. You know the devil comes to you, to everyone at a certain age anyway, when they hit adolescence. Sometimes a little younger. Especially when you have supernatural abilities. One on the family. Page of Pentacles. See? Look at that. Somebody think they could just play with you and manifest things on you and try to direct you down a different path. The balls. I don't know if you noticed that or not, but that lighting did something a little different when I showed you that. That's one on family. And what's on the bottom? 9 of Swords. Okay? That's the subconscious. That's where they at now. That's why they want to say they're sorry. They're not sleeping. When you wish something on somebody or put something out there against somebody, it has nowhere to go but back to you when the person themselves is protected. This is a person who was arrogant. They can't control the way they were born, but they thought they could control the world by changing the way they perceive, the way they're perceived, by using you. Can you imagine the guts on this person? Page of Pentacles is embarking on a new journey. They try to send you down a different path, a darker path, while they steal your abundance. Bitch. One on the dancing. They're dancing and chanting stuff, or went to some kind of practitioner who does that. It's something that starts with an S, but it's a spiritual practice. 4 of Wands. Yeah, see what I mean? 4 of Wands talks about celebrating amongst friends. It talks about stability. We can even talk about marriage in some instances, but chanting. Yeah, they've been maintaining stability at your expense. What? Knight of Wands is on the bottom of the deck. Look at that. They're calling on false deities, false lords, false gods, darker entities, jinns, things like that. Knight of Wands. Oh, it's a bunch of wands on top of this card. Hold on a second. I'm back. Sorry. Why is it telling you to focus on your breathing? Yeah, they do. There's somebody who jinns move at supernatural speeds. That's why that Knight of Wands is there on top of the 4 of Wands. They calling them in. But a lot of this is past tense. Now they're doing it to your kids. So this is somebody who's still alive. I feel like they're sick. Because that 9 of Swords is there. That's devil energy. And it's like, I'm sorry. They defenseless right now. I feel like they're mind fucked or bedridden. Why is it deep breathing? Why is it telling you? It's telling you to be patient. Call upon the Most High. Page of Cups. Beef up on your prayers. Deep breathing. Relax. It's telling you to relax. So tell me one. What about grounding yourself? Five of Pentacles. Yeah, they don't want you getting sick or playing you. This will keep you from being played out of your stuff. Discernment. This is why, okay, for those of you who might have been like lethargic recently, tired, under just feeling like out of just low on energy, not like yourself, drink green tea. I'm told to tell you to boil the tea with the peelings from an orange, put them in the tea. Eat the orange and then put the peelings in the water for the tea and boil it, because the vitamin C is in the peelings more than it's in the orange. Yeah. That feels like a death ritual. If somebody thought they can just do that to you. But it's a couple pages on here. Again, with your children. Hierophant can be a leader of the community. It can be a parental figure. Page of Cups. To be somebody who's well known in the community is doing this to your children, or using your children to conjure up some shit. Some of you have deceased children, and they're using those children, or the people they relied on are using those children to conjure up something, like a glamour, like to appear like that deceased person. But they were babies, they're little kids. And they're trying to embody that person. Like, what the fuck? Like, it's like the devil is on your kids' ass. Nine of Swords is devil energy, and they're attacking your kids psychologically. Like, that Page of Pentacles can be adolescents embarking on a new journey. Like, you're transitioning. Like, your approach on life is starting to change. Like, the way you feel, the way you think, the way you smell even is different. With the Pentacles, that's tangible, that's physical. This is somebody who's pulling on somebody's heartstrings, and they having trouble breathing. Now I get it. Deep breathing. Their body gets sucked in because their body is sick, because they cannot breathe. Okay, so somebody's child could have passed away because they could not breathe, for some people. And the people who decided to call on these false deities regarding those children or that child, their whole body is sucked in because they struggle with breathing, because they initially ironed that child in the first place as to why that child suffocated and passed away. Now I see why this is here. I send a prayer of love to all beings of a miracle. Obviously not. You ought to be ashamed of yourself because you think that's going to bring you prosperity and success. You're just a fucking phony, whoever this is. Whoever it is. You don't have healthy relationships with people. You see the terrible in everyone, or try to instill terrible in everyone if they don't genuinely have it already. You don't love yourself, and you want the world to perceive you as this top-notch person, and you're not worth two nickels rubbed together, especially associating yourself. First of all, you're just as bad as the people who's doing it if you're associating yourself with those people. Because these are children, you slow bitch. How dare you? Now somebody's ancestors is on your ass. Now you struggle with your breathing. All of whoever has something to do with that. Regarding someone's children. I didn't come here to play with no one. That's one thing you don't do. And then you traumatize or attempt to traumatize the living children. Or is that the entity speaking through you, trying to terrorize your children, to trauma bond with them, to scare them into doing what they know is not right? Because these children have a calling on their life. It's a lot of children. that have been impacted by this, because they're made to know better and you're blocking them from their supernatural abilities. But guess what? The Hierophant is here. God is present. He's very present, because the Hierophant can represent the Most High as well. And he's here to tell you, your children are safe. Whatever they thought they did, those are jinns. And them same jinns is going to lead them right into the fire. Nothing happened to your children that was not, nobody can pass beyond the zones of authority of me. So if they claim they did something regarding you and your children, tell them to produce their swords if they're truthful. Tell them to do it. Don't worry, we'll wait. Okay? Because if that's the case, they can get that sickness off of them with no problem. With that same innocent resource. But not without my permission. That's the whole moral of it. Tell them to let themselves be seen. What are they sorry for? It should be a public. If they're really sorry, they will publicly admit what they did, and it still won't be enough for them. That's what I just heard. The courageous peony, multifaceted, unique nature. Let yourself be seen. This is telling somebody you can't hide who you really are. Like, it's starting to become very evident who you really are. Star ancestors, hidden secrets, lost wisdom. Look a little deeper. You're more than what the eyes meet, and there's something wrong with your eyes. That's why you don't make a lot of eye contact. Your life is a canvas. Artist, what does that say? Manifestation, creative accountability. You are responsible for all the harm you put these people through. You're also responsible for being in that Nine of Swords energy. You have no one to blame but yourself, because you've made so many errors of judgment. Now you want to pass yourself off. But why do you have to pass yourself off as somebody who has the ability to send a prayer of love to all beings in need of a miracle? Why do you have to pass? Why are you trying to correct something that you claim you already was? Does that make any sense? Like, you don't have to say that to prove yourself to anybody when you was already supposed to be that type of person. So what are you talking about? Now, I hear the word now goes in front of it. The person saying, now I send a prayer of love to all beings in need of a miracle. You need a damn miracle. It's going to take a miracle. It's going to take God's miracle, because you fucked up. Hold on. Okay, you know what I'm hearing now? This is for people who lost their children. Okay, and it was mysterious. You kind of knew something was off, but you couldn't put your finger on it as to what exactly was it. This is what the person was saying to the people, to console the people through this very trying time. Well, wait a minute. Why do you need to console the people if you're the one that's at a loss? How do you not feel like you're at things that hiding in plain sight that didn't make any sense? Like, why are you consoling the people more than you consoling yourself, or accepting condolences from other people? Like, it's not adding up right at all, and people are starting to see that now. Like, you're very creative. You just used it to be a rotten ass person. Tell me more about the Nine of Swords. They realize who they did that to. Now I see Pharaoh at a pivotal point of knowing who Moses was at that point. His God is the true God. At that point, his army drowned. in the middle of the ocean. It was too late. So now you got the Hierophant and the High Priestess here. Somebody wants to make peace with you. With the Page of Cups and this card, talking about they send a prayer of love and miracle. They think they see your abundance now. No, don't. It doesn't matter about my abundance. They see that they already saw your abundance, and they saw that it didn't stop you. What they did, it didn't slow it down or nothing. It's actually in fruition now. They see that. They also realize you know what they did, but as a high priestess, you know a lot of things, but you don't speak on it. Something about your energy and the way you look at people lets them know that you're not to be bothered. You're not one to play games. You're not the one to let nobody smile in your face. I heard they don't even get that close to you. But this person wants to send a prayer of love to all beings in need of a miracle. These are all the children you prayed against. And now you're trying to redeem yourself in hopes that it will bring back your prosperity and success. No offense, but you compromise that when you start preying on children, especially especially children that are like deeply spiritual. When I see good in others, I acknowledge it out loud. No, you don't. You tried to hide it. You tried to hide it to force a narrative. I welcome healthy, loving relationships. This person can be more toxic and abusive, well-rounded abusive. This is why it's telling you to pray. Beef up on your prayers against your oppressors. God answers the prayers of those who are oppressed. And keep praying against them. Be a support against those who attack me, abuse me, them and their helpers. That's why the Fortress of Muslim came up. It's very significant because you're out here working your light. You're out here being a light being. You're out here sending positive and being basically your authentic self puts them to shame. It's hard to hide. They try to hide you in some way or another. How were they supposed to do that? I don't know. Maybe smear campaigns, rumors, just did everything they could to make you look other than what you truly are, but it didn't work. And the people see that now because they see your character. They're watching your character. They're watching you. You're becoming more popular because of this person without them even meaning to. They meant for people to see you in an ugly light. Hence, I can't control the world, but I can control how I choose to perceive it. This is somebody who knew better, but chose to do negative stuff anyway. For what? To be a victim? Now you're really in that victim mindset. You can't get out of it with that Nine of Swords. See? The Lovers. Right next to that High Priestess. Authenticity. They see that. This is really who she is. She never falters. What's on the bottom of that? Ten of Pentacles. That's why the Pyrite is here. For prosperity. They're not genuinely sorry. I feel like they are in a sense because they're in a painful space. They're sorry they feel like that. So it's regret. I don't think it's remorse yet. Let me see. Because they went after your abundance. The main thing about your abundance, another page. Wands. What the fuck? There's all these pages out here. And look what's on the bottom of that. Somebody who's goddamn tyranny, mentalist, King of Swords. Somebody who has no soul, no spirit. Just heartless. Completely fucking heartless. Now you want somebody to believe that you want to send a prayer of love of all things. Love? What could you possibly know about love attacking all these children? Your children is what I hear. Your children, whoever's watching this, your children. You know who that some person is. That King of Swords is who's suffering in the Nine of Swords right now, behind what they have been doing. A king is somebody who's mature and wise, so they're an expert in what they do, meaning they're mature in who they are and what they've done, meaning this is something that they've been doing a very long time, that they are well skilled in. And they try to trauma bond with your children, or at least some of them. They try to attach jinns to your children, to fuck them up, to ruin them, even kill them. Some of them. For those of you who have children who crossed over, I'm so sorry. But this weirdo, I heard you can't even call him narcissistic. He's just a scared little boy himself. That's who he resonates with, is children. That's why he's the king of, that's why it's swords. Swords are not emotional, they're logical. So that goes to show you that he never evolved past a young age emotionally. At some point in his childhood, he got cut off emotionally. And this is a generational curse for him. Because this is a parental figure. If it's a king, that's a parental figure. That's a spouse. So you could have children with this person. Or this person has children. This person can be a divorcee. King of Swords represents divorce. Of course, because you don't have the emotional connection or the spiritual connection with people. You energy harvest off of other people. And children. You gravitate to people with children. This could be a whole fucking sex abuser. Listen. Be careful. Because this is not a mistake. All these pages out on this board. And something with the family. So it goes back to whoever wished ill on you in your childhood wished for you to go down a different path and to attract these people, these demonic people, to block, because it will forever, it was meant to block you and distract you from your higher calling, only for this shit to not work anyway, because you're the high priestess, the lovers, and the Ten of Pentacles. You can't do nothing with that. Whenever there's a 10, there's an ace. There's no ace on the board, but the Hierophant is here, which can represent the Most High. But it also represents somebody who's well known in the community too, who pretend to be a servant of God. This is the person who is pretending, on one hand, pretending to be a self-righteous person. They try to pass themselves off as somebody who welcomes healthy relationships, who always see the good in people, who practice a lot of self-love. On the outside, they look like that, but they are a damn demon who preys on children. This is somebody who has children. They're stuck in their second childhood themselves, but they are mentally stuck in their childhood, period. So when you make sense of it psychologically, that's who they level with, is other children. But this, what they come with, is those entities, because they either associate it with people who deal with entities, or they do it themselves. Either way, they know how to do it or know how to associate with people who do it. And I feel like your ancestors, look at this. This is deep-rooted karma. This could be somebody who past life. This could be your twin flame for some. Look how the light is in both these people. And look at the roots. They have roots with each other. This is deep-rooted. But it can also mean that this person is suffering from a huge generational curse. And he couldn't shake it. I feel like this person was called to do something different to break that generational curse. But he was caught at a young age. That jinn was too strong. And it overtook him. Then this is what this person knows. And this person does this in their sleep. This is somebody who's just that way. It's just no two ways. You cannot shape shift their character to be nothing else. Like everything that they did to people is exactly who they are. There's a person who has been in many partnerships who just when they connect with people, he's against them. But it's subtle at first, and then it builds momentum. But he has soul ties with these people, so children can be a big thing for this person, making them, as well as, when you feel like they're your children, naturally you do what you want to do with them. There's no rule book to parenting, but that's distorted for this person. No, it's not a rule book to parenting, meaning you do the best that you can. You can't tell somebody how to be a mom or dad to their child. But it's distorted because of all this deep-rooted karma and associated with these entities, and you got all these factors in the mix. It's like real distorted. You cannot tell this person that they fucked up. But now, being in a Nine of Swords energy, they feel fucked up. Like they feel it. Like but I'm hearing they're never not in this energy. They've been, you being in your authentic self, you're able to see that this person always knew this about themselves. They've always been in that devil energy. So you have some kind of supernatural ability where you're empathic, but you have other abilities too. He tried to play them abilities down to the best of their ability, to the best of his or her ability. A king could be a man or a woman. I hear everybody you associate with is demonic. And you always attract light workers, empathic people, or people with psychic abilities. And you don't want them to read you, so bluntly put, you do everything in your power to break them down. You call on them entities. You attach to their children to distract them. Well, God said, He told me to tell you, produce your swords if you're truthful. Anything else? What else am I supposed to know about, or is the people supposed to know? Somebody needs to hear this. But somebody needs justice. This came out in reverse. It fell on the floor. 9 of Cups. Greed, cocky, arrogance, manipulative. This is this person's secret fantasy. This is their secret shame because they enjoy it. It's how sadistic this person is. They really enjoy what they do. Four of Cups. They wanted you to be disappointed in God. They wanted you to be disappointed and not be able to receive love. They wanted you to be bored with your life because they feel like they took everything from you. They feel like they did. They feel like they one-upped you. But they still needed your energy in some way or another. Obviously, at this point, you stay away from this person. But they still know your heart and know that you will send a prayer to people who is in a bad spot like that. You knew that he was in a bad spot, but you really wasn't that as tapped in as you are now to see it for what it really is. And they've been working on you and your children for a long time. 6 of Swords. Tranquil and peace, and you moved away. But what they didn't realize, all that comes in you moving away, you tap right in. They astral travel to you just like you astral travel, period. This is what they want you to feel like. It just doesn't exist anymore. It doesn't exist. It's like those feelings they wanted to have you to have in your chest. You have them. You just didn't. This is like disappointment. It's like, no, I'm not happy. But it's with them. That's your attitude towards them. You don't care. You're apathetic now. You don't send prayers to anybody who does not pray to the Most High in the first place. If they do, they're only doing it to save themselves. They want their prosperity and success back. I keep hearing back like they lost it. Like they keep feeling like if I do this or do that, it'll change my experience. But this person is insincere. They're not genuine. They're not authentic. They're the polar opposite of you. And they're successful in that way, like you're successful in being correct as you possibly can get. And I'm not overrating you, and I'm not dramatizing either one of your character. But there's a lot of damn kids on this board. It's a lot of children. And it's funny how one of the pages is on top of the Hierophant. That's the ones that that passed over. They're protected. This page of Pentacles, this one that I first showed you about, embarking on a new journey. They tried it, but with your mothering and your experience and your wisdom, your common sense and your intuition equals discernment. So you see how her hair got all them rainbows in it, like, and the plants on her shirt signifies we are connected by the womb. We are our ancestors. God is here. Your ancestors here. The way they kept a tight fist to keep the family together, it's the same way I pray over the calling of your life for God to protect the calling of your life and teach you how to embrace your multifaceted, unique nature. You can let yourself be seen. You don't have to feel muted or feel weird or have any kind of anxiety or be in that negative energy, because you being somebody's mother is one of your gifts. It's a gift of kindness. It was a gift of kindness to that person. And it's a gift of kindness, period. It's the best gift a woman can give is birth. It's nothing like a mother's love. And on top of that, you have abilities. You can heal yourself. You're made to heal yourself. Because somebody treated you the same way. So that empathy is played on, but is utilized responsibly too. You know there's a calling on your kid's life. You know that's why you attract people who need your help all the time. You know your gifts. You know your abilities. Now you got them boundaries up. That's why you have discernment. Somebody tried to leave you to die. Somebody wanted you to die. Somebody wanted to drain you of everything you have and some with that Five of Pentacles. You call judgment, like enough. You are called to ground yourself. Keep yourself grounded. How do you keep yourself grounded is try to do what pleases God to the best of your ability. Try to do what's morally, ethically appropriate and accepted. It keeps you grounded because you'll fall for anything. These are entities dancing around, celebrating at our expense. We have to stop with these motherfucking jinns. Like, people call on these jinns when they're in an empty spirited space, and it's hard to get them off, especially when they've been with you since childhood. That's another reason why all these children are here. Mental sickness, physical sickness, emotional blockages, like, they really fall in love with you, and they teach you how to be a distorted human being because they're not human. So you know when something's off about a person. Take heed to that. The wands is spiritual, just like the cups is spiritual. But you put those two energies together, they are very creative together. So naturally they think the cups could represent humanity, where the wands can represent the entity. And people think you have supernatural abilities. Hence, you have a unique nature. You let yourself be seen. And you try to pass yourself off to be a certain way, but something's never quite right or clean in the milk when you see jinns and humans come together. It never works out. There are 2 nines here. I just realized that. The 9 of Cups and the 9 of Swords in reverse, attached to this King of Swords. This person has no emotional availability, no spiritual guidance. Out here they could barely stand up. They're out of it. These children have a calling on their life. God is protecting them. He protects children and fools all the time. You know, how dare you try to take from people what is not in it's not in you to have. You could have had it, but you chose otherwise. So how are you going to take what you didn't help anybody to get, and you're not helping them maintain it? Like, you don't have it like that. If you are meant to be somebody who's a guru or just has a teaching or a higher calling on their life, is ruined. You've been dead a long time, and that means spiritually. I heard that loud and clear. I've been dead a long time. So being around children that's life. That's closest to God as I can get. I can see some people crying after hearing somebody say that. But at the same time, there is a king on this board, and there's a high priestess and a hierophant. So the wisdom and the common sense and the discernment is here. The judgment card is here. It's time to call these people out for what they do in the dark. Look at this judgment card. Look at that. Shit, you got the answer for that. Okay, because this is what they want. They want to get to that fruitful side of life. But this is who they are. They don't have nothing. Like, we may understand why you did it. It just doesn't make it okay that you did it. What should I say, to wrap all this up, Most High? What do you need me to say to wrap all this up? Wait a minute. Hold up, let me see. Knight of Cups. Hangman. Remind them of the ayats that he gave to Aisha radiallahu anha, or everybody who does wrong, he urges them to repent. Try to see things from a different perspective, because you went through this long enough, and if you want a different calling on your life, or at least the symptoms to ease up, you should be talking to the Most High, not other people. You shouldn't stop energy harvesting off of other people. You need to go refrain from people, and children included, for a long time. You need to work on yourself. Tell your truth. If you're really speaking from an authentic place, produce your source. If you're truthful, tell your truth. Share your song. Or it's for the people, urge the people who feel like they're muted or can't say anything because they feel like they're manipulated or caught in a web of lies and manipulation and trickery. You don't feel like you can say anything because no matter what you say or do, it feel like a lose-lose situation. Share your song. Look at it from a different perspective. You're not stuck. So really, I'm being called to correct that statement. It's not for him, or them. It's for you or the people. Make sure you're singling out the people who've been victimized. All the children, all the parent figures, everybody who's been manipulated and abused, and set those boundaries, because you have love. Okay? And you will be received well, and you do have love. Okay? And trust the timing. It's not too late. Time is not running out. Okay? And write love notes to yourself. Write love notes to yourself. It builds up your self-esteem, because you have to know that you're very special. You have a higher calling on your life, just like your children do. But they're not going to be tapped into it until you tap into it. Okay? If they see you down and out, they're going to believe that they're down and out and have to put up with this foolish ass behavior. Okay? People like that are only as strong as the power you feed into them. All right? Okay, I hope that helps. Until next time.